Now, China has unveiled retaliatory tariffs of 84% on imports of U.S. goods today. The move matches additional tariffs imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump on China earlier in the day. It has further inflamed a trade war between the world's two biggest economies. Trump's sweeping reciprocal tariffs took effect earlier on Wednesday. China was the hardest hit nation, with a levy now totaling at least 104% on all its goods. The two countries have been involved in a game of tit for tat on trade, with Beijing standing firmly against each new tariff introduced by Washington. The trade war widened further on Wednesday after the European Union announced it will begin collecting retaliatory duties on U.S. imports starting on Tuesday. Subsequently, President Donald Trump has announced a 90-day pause on higher tariffs for dozens of countries, but has further hiked levies on China to 125%. The U.S. says government says there will now be a universal tariff of 10% on all countries' goods except for China. To discuss this issue further, we're joined now by SABC News Economics reporter Tshepo Mongoai. Tshepo, very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us. I mean, China retaliating to the new tariff imposed by President Donald Trump. What's the ripple effect?
It shows that there are pressure and there are consequences that are quite dire for the global economy. Indeed, if this tit for tat that is ongoing in our global economy, you've seen global markets that have been widely affected by this move by China, by the U.S. But what's interesting is this ongoing, what seems to be a tit for tat between China and the U.S. and the show of power that clearly looks like it's determined to go on. I mean, China has indicated that they have the means to go on with this if Trump continues to imposing this ongoing tariffs. And it's very interesting that it's about who is the strongest between these two most powerful countries in the world, given that Trump has now raised the tariffs even higher than they were before. Now, what's interesting is what is going to be the next response from China come tomorrow. Are they going to further also increase their rates to around 100% after this move? As the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs indicated, it looks like China says that they have the means to do it and they will continue to do it. But I suppose the other global nations, other nations may want to come in and intervene, because this is having an impact not just on these two countries but on others. But what we've also observed, which for me it's a little bit interesting, is that after that pause, the 90-day pause, if you look at the Wall Street, the U.S. market started going up and increasing, surging to higher. That tells you that I'm not sure if it's just investors coming back into the markets because they are a little bit more optimistic and confident that there will be some level of negotiations between these two nations or not. But I'm not convinced. I'm really not convinced. It could be perhaps speculators taking up some positions in the market, and we might see the reversal of what we are seeing today on Wall Street, and also still pricing in this escalation in trade war between the two. But also I think what needs to be clear is the position of the European Union. If indeed are they treated as retaliatory nations among China, that also will escalate it. But if the EU, as they previously indicated that they may be willing to talk, I suppose there will be a different approach into this current impasse.
As you speak about the U.S. announcing that 90-day pause for some countries, I suppose the big question is South Africa on that list?
Well, I think given the facts that are on the table, that they are actually posing for countries that are not retaliating, South Africa is among them. The position of the South African government was that they're not going to retaliate. They've also indicated that they are going to be engaging Washington. So I suppose that opens a window or a door for South Africa to be among those that the U.S. will be willing to talk to. I really don't see a reason why not. There wouldn't be any negotiations with the U.S. But what is also interesting that you've also indicated in your interest that 10% a blanket tariff will remain, and it doesn't look like they're going to be removing that. That is a kind of a benchmark that everyone else will have to start from. So there's a completely, they say it's a reset in global trade that America it's spearheading here.
Very well. Thank you so much. Let's leave it there for now.